Sometimes in life, we've got large obstacles to overcome, kind of like some of the people we'll see in this week's video. Welcome back, guys. It is your host, Broncos Guru, and it's this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Last weekend, we decided to go ahead and give away a Drain Plug Mafia tumbler, and Tom Cooper was the lucky winner there. We're going to do it again this week. It's really easy to qualify. All you need to do is make sure you're a subscriber, hit the like button, and leave a comment below, and I'll come back and pick my favorite comment, and somebody's winning a tumbler. Also, for those of you who followed the Bahamas videos we used to do, hang out to the end of this. We got some huge news coming up on that as well. Let's get this episode started. Our first subject we're going to talk about this week is going to be perception versus reality in boating. This was actually motivated by this first video clip I saw from Katie Lemon, where when people went out on the water with her, this is what they thought their day was going to be like. But that was just perception, and these latter clips are more of the reality of what it really is like. Perception versus reality is a real thing in boating. It really depends on who your captain is behind the helm, what kind of day you're going to have out on the water. Sure, maybe you're thinking you're getting invited out on your friend's boat to have a nice relaxing day, but the captain could be a madman. You never know what you're going to get when you're out there. He may tell you to go out there and hang out in the bow of the vessel, but really he's just trying to get a good laugh at your expense. And it really is tough to gauge this. You can't base somebody's captaining abilities or personality on the water with their personality on land. It's two different things. Your friend from the office who does the speed limit and stops for every stop sign could be a different person on the water.
Boat, down, get down, get down.
Things like this can turn what you thought was going to be a simple little fishing trip into a pretty harrowing adventure, or maybe what you thought was going to be a nice little scuba job into all of a sudden what turns out to be an actual snorkel job. People sometimes just don't do the research they need in boating or in boating situations to have all the information, and one of the biggest ones is the weather. So many captains fully commit to that time off. It doesn't matter what the weather is, they're going out absolutely no matter what, and they're going to get their boating in. Kind of like this guy right here, but he probably should have done just a little bit more research before he headed out, as his perception of what he thought he was going to pull off, of course, is not the reality. Our next subject we're going to talk about this week is going to be not paying attention. This is another big flaw many captains have. It's kind of like being out on the road. Somebody calls your phone, you decide you're going to pick it up and start talking away and not paying attention, and all of a sudden bad things can happen. Well, guess what? That happens on the water as well. The biggest difference between when this happens on land and this happens on the water is, well, of course, first, there's no brakes on the water. Once we've committed, we're going into things, and things always happen a little slower as well. It's a whole lot more difficult to get out of the way of something on the water than it is than just turning the steering wheel on land. Even the smallest distractions can cause some big mistakes, like maybe you decided you were going to stop and look at that one last text message, and all of a sudden somehow you completely missed the water. Or maybe you let that one last work email you couldn't just let sit there distract you right before you departed, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, you realize you forgot your drain plug. Or your wife's sitting there having a nice conversation with you, and you can't figure out why your vessel isn't getting any power. And then, of course, there's always when you have all your friends on the vessel with you, you're out there having a good time and just not quite paying as close of attention as you should, and you forgot that you're a little taller than the bridge you're trying to go under. Then, of course, there's the next one, which is one of my all-time favorites. So you and the boys decide you're going to take the ski out. We get so excited in such a rush, nobody bothered to pay close enough attention to where you were going onto the water. There was no boat ramp at all, and you had to figure out your own way to get the ski out onto the water. Speaking of which, oh, the sweet boat ramps, the things that can happen in just a few seconds of losing your train of thought and not paying attention while there.
What happened? Emergency brake flew off or something?
Yeah, I'm sure he did, mate. Shit, there goes my old truck.
Dadgum, that was a sharp truck, buddy.
And then there are those times when you're just not paying attention, you think you're taking a little shortcut, but forgot there's a reason you can't take the shortcut to the boat ramp, and that's because the old dock blocker, the sandbar itself's in your way, and is going to stop you and your crew from reaching your destination, and what you thought was a shortcut all of a sudden turns into the long route. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Christian Smith, Caleb Emery, Jesse Smalls, Katie Lemon, Constance Jablanowski, and Molly Pinsker did this week. The other big announcement we have this week is going to be about the Bahamas. For those of you who've been around the channel for a while, you may know we do a boating Bahamas trip every single year. We take our boat to Fort Lauderdale, and we'll actually boat from Fort Lauderdale over to the Bahamas. And over the years, I've had many of you message me asking about the possibility of doing one of these trips with me. Well, guess what? This is your year. The Ministry of Tourism of the Bahamas reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to lead across one of their Bimini flings. So I'll be hosting their June 24th to 27th Bimini fling. If you've ever thought about taking your boat to the Bahamas, this is an excellent opportunity to do so in an organized flotilla. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description below for anybody who might be interested in taking their boat across this summer. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to drop an anchor on the subscribe button.